Great news in today's video as we see one of the most controversial new protocols going away. It has been such an exciting week in cruise news. Now we're going to be talking about a few of the biggest cruise news stories, including the latest in the Carnival updates. As well, we're going to talk about the support for the cruise industry that they are getting and the increasing pressure on finding a way forward, for cruises to restart from the United States. We're also going to be looking at vaccines and not having vaccines on cruises, and a cruise line that says, they're going the route of not having it being mandatory for all passengers, and I will tell you why. And finally, I think this is the best news that I've actually seen, and this is the fact that one of the protocols that was the most controversial, one of the ones that we really didn't like as cruisers, one of the cruise lines that is actually going to be sailing in June has said that they are taking it away. So I will tell you all about it in today's video. I did want to mention that if you like the video, if you find it helpful or informative in any way, then please do give the video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And of course, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. So let's get started on that cruise news. Oh, and I did want to mention as well, I'm going to be asking you for a little bit of advice on something regarding this channel towards the end. So please, if you are somebody who likes videos like this, who likes talking about cruising, please help me to weigh in on some of the decisions that I'm going to be making. Okay, let's get started. So before I start my Carnival updates, I started my video a little bit differently today, and I forgot to introduce myself. So hi there, my name is Alana. Welcome back to my channel. So now on to the Carnival updates. So as you know, some cruise lines have decided to start sailing in North America, but from outside of the US, so from the Bahamas or from Bermuda or from other islands in the Caribbean. So of course, Carnival, that is one of the biggest cruise lines, at least for America. Carnival has now spoken up and has said what their intention is, because there was a lot of speculation. So it is a good thing that they did. So Christine Duffy, who is the president of Carnival, she has said that Carnival intends to stay in the United States, at least at the beginning and at least for now. That is where they hope to be able to sail from. And she is hopeful, she says, of actually having a restart in June. So this is despite the recent rhetoric that we've heard from the CDC and from the cruise lines. We're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. But I think this was really kind of good news that Carnival did seem hopeful that cruising could restart in the month of June. Now, what they are doing to increase confidence for all of the cruisers, all of the guests that they have sailing at least in the month of June, is they are saying that they are going to be extending that final payment date all the way till the end of April. Now, they said that they will know before the end of April if they are sailing in the month of June or not, but they really just want to be able to give you the most flexibility if you are sailing with Carnival as possible. Now, if you do decide to sail with them, if you have a cruise booked for the month of June, they're going to be giving as well an additional onboard credit of up to $100, which they say is kind of a loyalty to Carnival credit. So really a nice move. Now, if you don't want to sail with them in the month of June, if you're not comfortable with it, if you want to make alternative plans, you can get a full refund, and that is okay too. So now, while Carnival says they are hopeful that maybe there'll be a restart in the month of June and that they are working on hopefully some sort of guidance from the CDC, we do need to talk about this. There has been a lot of support for the cruise industry from leaders across the United States. And as some cruise lines have decided to start their cruises up outside of the United States in some of the Caribbean ports, there's an increased pressure as well. Of course, the cruise lines, the cruise industry is really important to the US economy. As Governor DeSantis from Florida has stated, this goes beyond the people that work in the cruise industry to all those ripple effects, tourism and beyond, manufacturing, the food industries. This is really, really important. So now we are seeing that between the governors from the different states, between mayors, senators from Alaska, from Puerto Rico, they are putting pressure. They're asking the CDC for answers, for guidance to have a restart of cruising. We also do have CLIA, the Cruise Line International Association, that is really publicly now saying that the cruise lines have been treated differently and it is time for that to stop. They point out some things that probably seem kind of obvious if you've been following the cruise news, but the fact that maybe some of the information that the CDC has or that the government has about the dangers of cruising is maybe outdated. Actually, it is outdated because now the cruise lines have made a lot of changes. They've made changes in terms of the health and safety protocols. They've made adaptations on their cruise ships, including the air filtration and the cleaning standards and technologies. And at the same time, society has changed. There are now vaccines that are out, and this is absolutely changing the landscape everywhere, not just for travel, but for everyday life. So they are saying that the conditions that existed for that conditional sailing order back at the end of October, well, the conditions are just not the same anymore. And they're actually asking for the conditional sailing order to be rescinded, taken away completely, and for the cruise lines to be able to operate and function as they already know how to do. They've been doing this in other countries, so they have that experience. Now, the CDC's response to this is that they are not rescinding the no-sail order and that this is indeed in effect until November 1st. And something just to note is that doesn't mean that cruises are canceled up until November 1st. It just means that this conditional sailing order, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, so that's what the test sailings and everything, that is in effect. Now, whether or not there can still be a change, there actually can be. And this does seem to be, at least from that conditional sailing order, under the mandate of the CDC. But now they say it's an interagency decision, so it really is hard to know. We will certainly find out more. Now, we do know from Governor DeSantis in Florida and the Florida State Attorney that they say that they're considering legal action if they're not able to make any headway, any way forward with the CDC on this. So we're going to continue to follow this story. Now let's move across the pond to the UK, where we have now heard from Disney Cruises that are going to be sailing with the Disney Magic, doing these 3 and 4 day staycations in the UK. So these are basically cruises to nowhere, but they're going to have lots of activities, lots of shows on board for children and for adults. Now, more to come on the protocols on board, but for now, they're going to be operating with the regular protocols that we've already heard about from the cruise lines. There really is no news yet on any vaccines, but this does lead me into talking about MSC, who is cruising from the UK, and contrary to P&O Cruises and Princess Cruises and some of the other cruise lines, is they are not mandating vaccines for all of their passengers. And what they're saying about this is that on their ships, they're going to be accepting non-vaccinated and vaccinated passengers. And they point out that they have been cruising since August 2020 successfully with protocols, and they believe they can continue to do so safely. They do also point out that their demographic is everybody from grandparents to teenagers to children, young children, and they want everybody to be able to sail on MSC. Now, the good thing, if you are vaccinated, is that you won't have to do that early testing before going on the cruise. So non-vaccinated guests are going to have a COVID test 72 hours before the cruise, versus vaccinated guests who will have to show proof of vaccination. Now, all guests are going to have to test before getting on board to make sure that their test does come back negative for COVID-19. Now, something to note about the vaccines is this is not all cruise lines doing the same thing like the other protocols. So really, depending on where they're sailing, depending on what the government says, depending on the circumstance, depending on their demographic, who's sailing on their cruise ships, if they have a lot of families and children, it does seem like they are doing different things. So we'll have to keep watching what is happening, but let me know your thoughts on the vaccine and if it's changed maybe since we started to talk about this a couple of months ago. Please let me know in the comments below. Now, if you've been waiting for cruising to seem closer to normal, I think you're really going to like this change to the protocols from Crystal. Now, Crystal Serenity is a cruise ship that is going to be sailing from the Bahamas, and it's going to be sailing with all vaccinated guests. So all of the guests are going to be actually over 18. There's nobody on the ship that does not have their vaccine. And you know about the new protocols that all the cruise lines have said will be in effect. That includes masks and social distancing, but it also includes having to take the cruise line excursions and not being able to even get off the cruise ship to explore on your own or even to shop around the port, at least for right now, not being able to do that you really have to take a cruise line sponsored excursion so that they could know that all those safety protocols are being followed. So that has been the rule. That's what we've been told. However, Crystal Serenity is changing all of that because everybody is vaccinated. Well, they are actually allowing people to be able to explore the destinations, the cruise ports of call on their own. Now, they do point out that while you can explore on your own, you don't have to get a cruise line excursion. You do have to follow the rules and the regulations in the Bahamas. So, of course, wearing masks, social distancing, all of those things that they're going to have there, that you have to follow those local rules, but not having to do cruise line excursions. Please let me know what you think. And so far, we have not heard from Royal Caribbean to see if they'll be doing the same. They might have a different situation because they have kids on board. So I'm not really sure. And this is really new information that I've really just seen at the time before filming this video, but I think it's very exciting, and honestly, it makes me feel very hopeful for what is to come for cruise lines in at least the next couple of months or the near future. Please let me know what you think. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. Don't give it any thumbs down. We don't want any thumbs down. So please let me know what you think. So if you've made it all the way to this part of the video, you got the best story, that Crystal Serenity one. But don't leave yet, because I do need to ask your advice and your opinion on the direction for this channel. I really actually would appreciate it. So as you know, the last few months, I have been creating videos that have been, a lot of them, about cruise news, because that's the direction that our cruise industry has been in. And that's what we've wanted to know about. However, as cruises are restarting, and they have restarted, I think that a lot of people are getting into a planning mode. Personally, I'm getting into more of a planning mode and looking ahead. And so I'm feeling like a lot of the direction of these videos could be also towards planning. Please let me know if you agree with that, if you think I should continue on the cruise news. Now, right now, what I've been doing is creating one video a week that is specifically about cruise news, and another video, usually midweek, that it's either cruise tips or something about that's a cruise interest kind of story. And I'd just like to know what you think. Do you want to still see cruise news? Should I have a live once a week and 2 cruise tips videos? Should I go to 3 videos a week? Should we stay with 2 videos a week? If I do cruise tip videos or cruise interest videos, so things about Princess, Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, different things, beverage packages, destinations, let me know, please, what kind of videos that you would like to see. I would really appreciate it. So if you still want to see cruise news, let me know. If you'd like to see more cruise tips, please let me know what types of tips that you would like to see. And if you would like to see lives, let me know as well, because that is something that I definitely would like to do in the near future. So now, of course, I have to say it. If you did like the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, well, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel already so we can hang out more often. And don't forget to put your notification bell on so you can get notified of these videos every time that they do come out. Well, thank you so much for watching, and happy future cruising.